Welcome, everyone, to another edition of the Wrestling Underground podcast. I am your host, as always, Chad Porto, and joining me, as always, is the glorious one himself, Marcus Green. Marcus, how are you?
Good man. Got some interesting stuff to talk about.
We sure do. Let's start right off the bat by talking about the fact that finally the Chad has finished the awards. It only took 6 weeks. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
But to be fair, in classic fashion, that's right on time for us.
I mean, yes, like we're the perpetual. If we tell you we'll be there at 7, expect us at 8:30 crowd. Well, to be fair, no, that's not how I am at all in real life. But in terms of how we do things on the internet, yes, that's exactly how I am. It's rough. So I don't want to spend too long on this because we do have a lot to talk about tonight. So we're gonna hit these real fast. I'm going to post the full results, including 2 through 8 and what have you, on the website. So I'm just going to tell you the winners. And Marcus, you can tell me if you're surprised by any of these. Starting with
Mhm.
the first one, you can tell that I didn't augment these at all because Wrestler of the Year goes to my least favorite candidate in Roman Reigns.
Acknowledge him. Not shocked.
I tried not to. I acknowledge Alexander Hammerstone.
Hey man, that's not in that it's in that regard. It came down to sheer notoriety.
Yeah, nope, you're not wrong about that. Reigns got straight 8s across the board except for me. My lone 6 is sitting right there. See, I didn't want to. I didn't do them dirty. I had Hammerstone and Alexander over Reigns, but I still had Reigns third. But still, fuck.
It's some good competition. Though, I give him that.
Yeah. We had a tie for most consistent performer. Damn you both. Damn you all. Should have just fudged the numbers and gone with Kenny. Wait, would that have worked for Kenny? I don't know. Anyway, I was trying to rig it so Gresham won. But I didn't think about that in hindsight. So the winners for this are Reigns and John Gresham. So I
Well,
guess you
I
plebes.
personally voted for Gresham.
Uh, yeah, it was Andrew who fucked with it. It's all right though. And Andrew gave too much love to Danielson, which threw off the curve. Danielson was still going to come in third, but like that one extra point could have gotten Gresham over the hump. But they're going to split it for this year. Tag team of the year is going to Finjuice. Although this was the more tightly contested division because the Young Bucks, Good Brothers, and Shane Taylor Promotions all came in seconds, or technically fourth, depending on how you want to quantify this. Because usually, like when 3 people share a spot, they don't share second, they share fourth, because then you also have second and third. But not ours. So they're the next ones up at fourth technically, and then for some reason you guys really seem to be high on RK Bro. That won't stand.
Oh, the Who was high on RK Bro because I deliberately tried in every instance to make sure that Riddle was some type of bottom.
Yeah, yeah, but they still came in fifth. At least it wasn't first though. Our indie developmental wrestler of the year goes to Colby Carino, who did very well outside of everyone but besides Marcus. At least I think it was Marcus. Marcus, did you vote for Colby Carino? I don't think so. Because I
I
just have
forgot
the
it.
numbers listed. I don't have the names
Yeah.
listed next to the numbers. Like I know I voted for him, and I know Andrew and others voted for him, but I don't know if. I think you gave him a 3. I think. I think. Did you give Nick Gage an 8?
Nick Gage.
You must have given Kobe the 8 then.
Yeah, I can't see myself giving Gage. No, I.
So Colby came in first. Omar Amir came in second of OVW. Adam Cole third, tied with Nick Gage. That won't stand. Nick Gage, fuck off.
About to give Big Gage 3 6s.
I'm about to give him 3-1. Just get the fuck out of here. We can times it by 2 after the awards. Foreign Company Wrestler of the Year goes to Great Muda, who's like 58.
Okay, man. Look, man, I'm a Shingo guy, but I know. Look, man, it's Muda. It's fucking Muda.
Shingo came in second by 1.
Nice.
And then Walter was third. So there's that. Yeah, but I guess winning the Noah title really put him over the top. And I think he's the Noah Tag Team Champion at the moment, too. I'm waiting for that Noah show to go up on New Japan World to watch it, because, like, I wants to see some Tanahashi magic against Noah. I forget, I think Tanahashi's wrestling mood in that tag match. I don't want to check the lineup because I don't want to see the results yet, so I don't know. Mike Worker of the Year goes to CM Punk. I'm the only one who seems to have Danhausen higher than a 3.
Oh, Cinnamon.
Right. It's ironic because Danhausen and CM Punk have a friendly rivalry going on. Danhausen calls CM Punk Pepsi Man. And the fact that only I seem to care about Danhausen on this grouping, it bums me out. It bums me out. Punk comes in first, tied for third, I guess you would say, is Paul Heyman and MVP, and Eddie Kingston came in fourth. Best gimmick goes to Josh Alexander, who's the best worker. None of us made him our number 1, which is ironic. He won by having the most consistent rating, though, so that's pretty cool. Roman Reigns got a 17. Oh, no. Oh, no. He came in second, I think. I'm not saying I tanked this grade. I'm just saying I tanked this grade. I love voting last. Trevor Murdoch came in third somehow. I did the math. Still don't know how it happened. Bobby Lashley came in right after that. Most improved goes to Josh Alexander with Shane Taylor coming in close behind, and Bianca Belair and Punishment Martinez tied for fourth.
Damn it, Shane, I tried.
You and I, I gave him good markings. I didn't give him that good of markings compared to you, but he got a lot of votes, man. He got a lot of votes. I mean, they all got the same number of votes. He got a lot of points, I should say, because there's only a few of us voting. But we tiered it. And this is how the election should be. Let us tier our candidates. Give us an 8 and a 7 and a 6 and a 5 and a 4 and a 3 and a 2 and a 1, or 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or whatever. And let us tier up our candidates. Most points win. Like, Jesus, it's the most fair way to do things. I mean, come on. Arrival of the Year, CM Punk won it in a go-away fashion. The next closest person was Bryan Danielson. I don't think anyone should be surprised by that. The next closest person to that was Adam Cole. So, yeah, David Richards, came in fourth. That's cool. And then Mercedes Martinez came in fifth. Bennett sixth. Oh, no, Jonah came in tie with Davey. My bad. So, yeah, winner is CM Punk for Arrival of the Year. Comeback of the Year is Christian Cage. I don't know why you guys like him so much. I was going to vote for Chris Sabin. I'm sorry. Sting was the winner of Comeback of the Year. Never mind.
Of the year? The only reason why I did vote for Sting because he didn't actually come back this year.
He came back in our grading scale, though. Because we didn't factor, because like when we do our awards, usually we're done by November, like that. Like we usually like November and December we count for the next year. And since Sting came back in December of 2021 or 2020, I counted him for this one because otherwise, because we didn't count him for last year's.
Yeah, I think he had my favorite return of the year with that Rumble spot.
With the what was it? Winner is here or something. Oh, you mean Christian?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Christian.
okay.
That Rumble spot, that was a great spot.
Yeah. Plus, he returned to he debuted in AEW and returned to Impact, so he had a busy ass year. So Sting
Yeah.
came in first, and Christian was second. Lower card standout. This is another one. It was two dudes. I don't know how. Like the winner is John Gresham. He got all high marks. Every high mark except for one person didn't put him first. Like that's it. Everyone else put him first. Like yeah. But he only won by 1 point differential from over Josh Woods.
Chad's unintentional rival.
And I'm just sitting like, all right, I'm looking at the numbers for Gresh, and they're all high. And then I look at Woods, and they're not as high as Gresh, but they're all consistent. I'm just sitting there going, how is everyone voting the same way for this cat? And granted, I gave him a strong showing as well because he's a great in-ring guy. I'm just saying, like, I did not expect everyone else to agree with me.
It only came down to two of them for me because to me Gresham's the guy, but they let Woods beat the guy.
Mm-hmm.
So,
No, I agree with that.
yeah.
I agree with that completely. Let's see. Female Wrestler of the Year goes to Deanna Parazzo. I think only Andrew didn't give her strong markings. Andrew gave Becky Lynch his top spot, but she didn't even finish in the top 4. Ha ha. Mandy Rhodes finishes with 2.
I'm like, damn it, I voted for Tessa. I'm playing.
So Mandy Rose finished second. So it's Deanna and Mandy. And then third was a tie with Bianca and Jordan Grace. So Parazzo, Rose, and then Belair and Grace. Speaking of Belair, did you see that new trailer for Fresh Prince?
Yeah, I did. I dig it. I'm digging it. It's the fresh take and flair on. I'm gonna give it a shot. I
I,
mean, obviously, it's the first iteration is the very definition of a classic. But
I hope it's good, and I hope people like it, but I'm already out.
what took you out?
It feels like Riverdale, only with an all-black cast and in California. And I'm like, I don't want
Oh,
more Riverdale stuff.
oh no, that's a specific tier of shitty.
Yeah, I want it to be good because like this whole
Like
like, are we
season
gonna talk about why you're really here? I'm like, ooh, mystery.
is yeah, and then it's like I think they're gonna bring some of the freaking my talking about Greek stuff into it, and because once Will got to Bel Air, his Philly troubles were never a thing anymore.
Right.
He just didn't get back. But here it seemed like it's gonna be an ongoing thing because obviously gang violence and this, that, and the sort may potentially follow the kid. I don't know. And then somebody was like talking about the trailer. I was like, I could get behind it, but how you make the butler look almost better than Uncle Phil?
Yeah, and like Uncle Phil felt really cold, and that was like a jumping off point in the trailer because he's like, "We'll talk later." I'm like, but Uncle Phil's jovial. He's a family man. And he felt very much like he wanted to worry more about his image in this trailer. And like maybe that's not the way they go in the show, but I'm like,
Yeah.
that's how it felt in the trailer. And you got to give me the proper tone in the trailer. Like I hate when people go, "Oh, but the trailer said one thing and the show does another." Well, then tell the trailer to tell me what the show does. Like don't subvert my expectations. That just makes me not want to watch you. You know how many shows and movies I have never given a chance because the trailer was shit? A lot of them.
Yeah, that great move, a shitty trailer, inverse of that's just so one sided. I mean, but lucky for you, you might not have to worry too much because I think next week on Wednesday, everybody's favorite Resident Alien comes back.
Yes, I'm very excited. Oof, I'm very excited about that. And there's a Gremlins TV show coming out. What?
Nice.
Yeah, I'm so excited. It's gonna be awesome. Plus, Star Trek Prodigy are really good.
Oh, for real? Is it
Mm-hmm.
Prodigy? That's the one with the That's not that lower decks crap. This is like the
This
more
was
adult
yeah. No.
rated.
Lower Decks was supposed to be more adult in its comedy,
Yeah.
but Prodigy's the new animated one with Catherine Janeway back. Only she's a hologram. She's an emergency calls it? Emergency Command Hologram. And she's based off of the real Catherine Janeway. So Kate McGrull came back, who played Janeway in the Voyager show. And it's basically like, I think like 6 or 7 kids escape like a mining colony where they were slaves or forced labor, and they steal a starship. They don't steal a starship. They commandeer an abandoned Starfleet starship, and now they're doing all kinds of wacky adventures, and it's really good. It's so much fun. There's this giant pink rock thing, and she's like a little girl, but she's like fucking 8 feet tall, and she's like, I'm like shy. I'm like, this is adorable. I fucking love it. It's so good. And there's this little slime thing that eats everything, and he's practically indestructible. I'm like, this is great. I love this. This is dumb fun. I love it. But it doesn't dumb itself down like Lower Decks does. And it's a very cool animated style. Like I think it's kind of in vein with, I think the Turtles' current design in terms of like the sharp edges on the characters, but it looks more photorealistic than it does animated. It's really well done. It's a lot of fun. So I would recommend Prodigy. And I don't recommend a lot of the new Star Trek shows because, Lower Decks was like Rick and Morty dumb. But like Rick and Morty's fine, or at least it was, because it was its own thing. But now all these shows are trying to be Rick and Morty. And I don't get in on that follow the trend bullshit.
Yeah, man. Our age of cartoons is so done.
Yeah. But Prodigy's really good. And then Strange New Worlds is coming out later this year, and I'm excited about that because Picard and Discovery are very dark shows. Very bleak, very nihilistic, and like that's never been what Star Trek is. And I'm of the mindset that when you have a brand, you follow the brand. Like, if you're gonna give me Bugs Bunny, give me Bugs Bunny throwing pies and shaving people's heads, to classic music. Don't try to force in some political narrative into Bugs Bunny because that's never been what it is. But if you bring in, say, like Daria, or excuse me, or something like the Boondocks, don't go away from its harder edge. That's what we're here for. When you establish a brand, respect that brand, and they're trying to change the identity of the Star Trek brand per series, and it's turning people off because Star Trek's a very hopeful show. So, like, it's very hard to get in on some of these new shows. But Strange New Worlds is supposed to be more, excuse me, it's supposed to be more optimistic, and so is Prodigy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna check that out specifically now that you done recommended it. And I'm still watching Discovery. I think it got its own versions of hope. I just think it's what their versions of it just not to a lot of people liking, specifically coming from the older generations of the movies. But yeah, I just think because I came into it with, I guess, fresher eyes and whatnot, I can rock with it more. But I'm definitely looking. I was never gonna get into Pickard because of that was I think that was for like I said, that generation of fans, and I think that may have even disappointed some people. So I heard, but with some of the decisions that they made, even though they got a lot of that cast back, but I am looking forward to Strange New World because is that the one that's with Anson Mount, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely because
with his glorious head of hair.
Oh my God, the silver fox of it all, love it. And that whole crew, and I'm also looking forward to the one that's gonna be starring Michelle Yeoh because freaking Michelle Yeoh's a legend and a badass.
Though that one is kind of in limbo of sorts because Yeoh is now doing a Witcher spinoff.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, well, you're not gonna get me to boo that.
Yeah, Section 31 has been in developmental hell for 3 years, and they're still talking about like, yeah, we're gonna do it, but like the season 2 of Discovery that introduced Yeoh, or at least the idea of Yeoh doing Section 31 and the rest of the cast that they're gonna cherry pick to put in there. None of them know that the show is still happening. They're like, I don't know.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, like the what was he? He was like a Romulan spy, I think, in season 2 of Discovery. He was supposed to be in Section 31. And he's like, I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's what I am happy about Strange New Worlds because I thought Anson Mount. I'm just so happy to see him like where he's at post Inhumans.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. He was Black Bolt.
He was the shiniest turd in that shitstorm. You know what I'm saying? Like it's and he couldn't even talk in it, right? So him coming out of that and doing this, and I like how every captain that got a chair got like their own little saying when like it's time to like go on a hyperdrive, and he's like, hit it. I was like, you got a
Yeah,
little swag.
he's saucy. He's
Yeah,
saucy. You gotta love that.
yeah, and then Rebecca Romaine, and she's just chef's kiss and all that. So I'm definitely looking forward to them dropping that off. But ultimately, me and Chad are saying all this, and we put all that on the back burner with Section 31 to get a freaking trailer to Orville. Can we please get the freaking Orville back?
We have it. We have a release date for Orville. We actually do. Orville season. I don't even know what season they're on. 3.
Yeah, gotta be. That's how long we've been in limbo. It's limbo, yeah.
March
Season
10th.
3. Nice.
So not
Nice.
that much longer. March 10th. Oh, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. All right. Bust of the year, because we're still talking wrestling. So Keith Lee came in third. Sorry, came in third with 18. Karrion Kross came in second with 21, and shockingly
Oh
enough,
wow.
the WWE ran away with
Well,
it.
I mean, kind of all encompassing, ain't it?
Yup. They took every top spot, so like that was undoubtable. Female Feud of the Year, we only had 4 because there wasn't a lot of good female wrestling this year. Now, don't blame me. I just report on it. Perazzo and Mickey took the top, with Lynch and Flair at 2, and Rosa and Baker at 3, and Melina and Camille at 4. So
Yeah, we kind of let that kind of encapsulates what Chad means when they say it wasn't a lot of good stuff. When I like Deanna a lot, but that feud wasn't exactly the bee's knees.
no.
Uh, so
Yeah, and Deanna hasn't really had a lot of great feuds, and I think it's because she's really not that. She doesn't have star potential. Like they're really going hard on her being like the face of the Knockouts division, and I just don't buy it. Like she kind of comes off as a bargain brand Tessa, minus the
mm,
racism.
mm,
So like as a worker, she's phenomenal, but everything else feels just like, well, we didn't get to do this with Tessa, so let's do it with Deanna. And I'm just like, all right, yeah, we need better female talent in Impact. I should not be sitting here going, I really want to see Melina win the title. She's 42. She's lost a step, but like Melina winning the Impact Knockouts Championship is like the best case scenario for like the next 6 months.
yeah, I want to see her and Trey have a thing. That'll be. Yeah, I mean they teased something and then never got it again. I want it again. Um, and if not, Melina, can we please work on getting Ember Moon or somebody? You can't have everybody go over to AEW. It's just stupid.
I'd be fine with Ember Moon. I also like this Masha Slamovich.
Oh yeah,
She's
yeah,
uh she's she's got that scary Russian Bull Nakano energy. I'm here for it. Like I love it. Like Bull
man,
Nakano
come
had the
on.
same type of like high up hairdo and face paint, and like I'm like yes,
I,
Masha's is yes.
I mean, come on, man. Bring in like Yim and Moon. That'd be perfect.
That would bolster the division. There it is, significantly, and they need it because they have talent. But it feels
Yeah,
like like they're not putting Jordan in the top spot, and I don't know why. That digital media championship's not doing anyone any favors. They're definitely building up Tasha to a feud with Mickey, and that'll be fine. But I don't know if
yeah,
Tasha has what it takes to be the face of the division either. Someone like Ember Moon, what's her Athena?
uh,
Is that
yeah,
what, so, Athena? She'd be great. So
yes.
would Mia Yim. Especially if you do a
Yeah.
Mia Yim and Rosemary feud with her returning. I think that would like really bolster the profile of both of them. But the best right now with the women's division is in the tag team stuff. I love Madison and Tennille. The inspiration is like I don't like them as wrestlers, but as characters, I find them charming. So like that's something.
Yeah.
So like the
And
Knockouts tag team division is much more bountiful than the singles division at the moment.
and then you left it. I mean, you kind of left with the storyline. You kind of left it open ended with you could easily write Taya coming back.
Oh yeah, that would be
Yeah.
another big boom for the division. I don't think Deanna is in the best place to succeed, and I don't think Deanna is the best person to be the focal point of this division. I'd rather them go all in and try to get Roxy before the WWE snaps her up and book her, because I think that would be more preferable right now. And I've given Deanna, nearly 2 years now, 18 months. This is the best she's gonna be, and she's just. When she speaks, I lose interest. And that's the most damning thing ever, because you can be a mediocre in-ring talent, but if you can hold an audience outside of it, we'll tune in to see you win or lose. And
Yeah.
Deanna's just so dull. What are you gonna do? Male feud of the year, ha ha ha! I finally got one I wanted. Alexander Hammerstone versus Contra. Yeah. No one else gave it a high mark, but I did, and everyone else gave it meandering middle of the road marks, but my high mark got it over the hook. I was like, yeah, baby. I don't know how some of the other ones got the votes they got, but number 2 is Murdoch versus Nick Aldis.
What?
I, I gave it my third highest point, and someone gave it their highest point. So I was like, all right, that's cool. Third highest was Page versus Omega, and then Kenny Omega versus Impact, Jericho MJF, Jonah versus Josh Alexander, and then last was Finn Juice versus the Good Brothers, which I'm
Yeah.
not that broken up about. I love Finn Juice,
But
but
it would have been Jonah Alexander, but it just came in too late in the year for me.
yeah.
And the Omega Page thing has been building up for like 2 years. So they culminated that. So that's probably got my highest vote.
Yeah, it nearly came in second. It missed out on 1 point. I did not like Adam Page, and I still don't like Adam Page. I find him boring. It's
Yeah.
I wasn't interested in the feud at all.
Yeah.
So my vote really crippled their chance to win. I'm not even mad about it.
Yeah, I'm not. Look, I'm not a Page guy either, but I appreciated, like I said, the 2 year build. And when I found out all the stuff that was ailing, I kind of waned on Omega, though I appreciate him as a performer. But when I found out all the stuff he was ailing from, I'm like, man, you should have. If I was you, I would have damn near dropped this a year ago. Like,
Yeah.
man.
All right. Excuse me. News story of the year: CM Punk returns to wrestling, wins in a landslide. Then let's see. It was Ring of Honor going on hiatus, and then Impact and AEW working together. Those are your top 3 stories of the year. For match of the year, we have. Let me see. I think it was Walter versus Dragunov at NXT Takeover 36 was the top guy. And then Young Bucks versus Lucha Bros were second, and then Cena Reigns was third, tied for third, with Danielson versus Suzuki.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know how Reigns and Cena ain't last because that whole thing was like, I'm back. I have hair, and I do small packages now. It's all I need to beat you.
He's back. He has hair and a giant ass bald spot that he's trying to comb the back over with.
I got this ball spot in the pursuit of peace.
Well, I guess you didn't make it then.
Shut up, Eagle Eagle.
And then finally, most popular, it's a 2-way tie between Bryan Danielson and CM Punk, and I don't think anyone's surprised about that.
Yeah,
Suzuki got pretty high marks, though.
no, he should have. But I feel like on that alone, like I feel like our voting got like secretly invaded by that grown man who was crying.
I mean, that dude, he's had enough shit. He's been through enough. All right, let's move on. Oh, damn it, wrong button. I mean, that is the next story. All right, so yeah, we're right. All right, so next one up, Cody Rhodes is a free agent. not under contract as a wrestler for AEW, not under contract as an EVP for AEW. He's working on a handshake deal with Tony Khan for the foreseeable future. What does this mean, though? Marcus, do you think Cody Rhodes might leave his pride and joy? Which wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, considering how fans pretty much hate his guts right now.
Damn, he's really gotten attached to the Big Show, huh?
Apparently.
Well, I mean, to sit next to Rosario Dawson to do that to you.
You're not wrong.
But yeah, I mean, I just think it's probably. I mean, in that vein, probably having that opportunity is probably broaden his horizon and stuff he wants to do. I don't necessarily know where. I mean, obviously wrestling would be the first love, but I mean, he's done a lot of stuff. Like you said, that character isn't necessarily the most must see thing. A lot of people, kind of find conflict with the fact that they keep trying to make him face with all he does is heel stuff. Or he comes off more as a heel when he's doing face like stuff. So, probably his interest is probably just elsewhere right now. Maybe they're looking to expand the family. I don't know. But I feel like this is the hope that less of him means less of Brandy on the show, which, it might be more the best service to the fans that he can give them right now. Because I don't know, you saw that whole thing with Dan Lambert with that promo.
I heard about it, but I haven't actually seen the promo yet.
Gotcha. But yeah, I just don't need her talk at all. So yeah, I mean, I'm surprised at that, but that's a lot to juggle. When you look at that road show he had, Roads to the Top, that's a lot of stuff to juggle as a husband, dad, VP, you're helping talent, what that the third, and you are talent and potentially, maybe doing some booking. I don't know. That's just a lot to juggle. And I think, like I said, his interest may be elsewhere, maybe looking to get into more acting. Obviously, we've seen him act in Arrow, so.
So, I think he's going to end up leaving, personally. I just something feels off about his relationship with everyone over there. So I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not making any major statement. I'm just saying I really wouldn't be that surprised if he left. Where he would go, I don't know. But I could see him leaving eventually. That said, real briefly, a little minor breaking news. Walter has a new name.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Walter has a new name. The German Phenom has apparently had his name changed in NXT from Walter to Gunther.
You kidding, right?
No. I can't make this up. This is too dumb. He defeated Roderick Strong, and then he declared that Gunther is the winner.
Sean Ross said, holy shit, what a stupid fucking idea it is to make Gunther the new name for Walter. Jesus Christ.
And Jesus wept.
The only thing that's more breaking than hearing is the fact they've probably broken this man's spirit. Somewhere there's a text being sent from Karrion Kross going, so it starts.
And I think he re-signed or agreed to go to NXT or something like that. So it's like, I can't even be mad for you because you're terrible. Like, why would you do this? Why would you agree to this? Just say no.
Jesus Christ. Man.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not great. All right, let's see what else we got on the docket. Impact had a 2-month high. According to Brandon Thurston, I think he does the WrestleNomics podcast. Yep, there it is. He's reporting that they did 111,000 viewers on Access TV alone this past episode. And while that's not a huge number, we also have to realize that they're airing on YouTube and on Impact Wrestling's streaming service. And their streaming service is pissing me off because I put a little money down on a new TV, right? It was only like $100 odd. It's not huge, but it's one of them smart TVs. So like I can sign up like in into all my streaming accounts and whatnot, and it's now my wrestling slash MMA TV. Like if I need to watch a show or an event for work because I cover MMA, I now have this to watch it on. This is glorious. So apparently, if you have a subscription to Impact Plus, which I do have, they will start running ads every 5 minutes on whatever show you're watching. And I'm like, well, this is horseshit. I'm paying a subscription fee to avoid fucking commercials, you cunts. So I'm not very happy with Impact at the moment. They brought in Hammerfan, Slam, whatever his name is, on commentary. That's fucking terrible. The main event scene has never been weaker than it is right now. I mean, Matt Cardona and W. Morrissey. Are we really? Does Impact not have a main event scene anymore? Apparently not. The most exciting thing that they've been doing on their own in the last month has been pairing Charlie Haas with Josh Alexander. I'm interested. That's something. But I'm excited for the future because this Ring of Honor stuff is interesting. John Gresham, Roxy, the OGK, PCO, Vincent Maria, what's his name with the face and the glasses, Riccaboni. All of this is great. I'm loving it. And I think it's really helping the product. But a lot of this didn't really start to come around until recently when the numbers started going up again. And when they were hitting some of their highs from the last year, it was in part because of the partnership with AEW, and they're bringing in Kenny and they're bringing in Christian. So like a lot of those fans were coming over from AEW to watch the show on Twitch. But no, now they're no longer on Twitch. So you have to get creative in how you watch it week to week. But fans are again coming back. But this time, it's not all because of Ring of Honor, because the stuff has been going up since before Ring of Honor has been playing with Impact. And I think all that kind of shows you how healthy Impact has become, even if they're making decisions that have really pissed me off lately. I would say that they're no longer number one in my heart. I think MLW might be number one because I like the roster more. Alex Kane is one of my favorite dudes in the world, and he's paired with one of the Demolition Core guys from Shikara. I think he was Flex Rumble Crunch or Max Smashmaster. Those were some great fucking names. Flex Rumble Crunch. And Alex Kane is just like this little shit heel, and it's great. And he's always screaming "Boom Aye" because of Ali going down to I forget what country it was in Africa, but he went to Africa and all the fans were chanting Ali Boom Aye. So now he's calling himself the Boom Aye Fight Club, and Alex Kane is just so much fun to watch. MLW is a great roster, man. They really do. They get some low key hitters. I love it. But anyway,
Yeah.
Impact's in a pretty healthy state, and that's kind of the point of the topic.
No, that's great. I love to hear it. I just yeah, now Impact's turned into if this was me and Chad talking about our favorite adult performers, Impact's the
I don't
young
watch
youth.
that content. What are you talking about, Vargas?
Oh, it's not. Welcome to my world, Yost. But
Talk about Black.
exactly. Impact was doing great on Black, and all of a sudden it's I was doing all this MILF stuff. It's but you look 20. Why? Why? Just wearing fucking aprons and fucking bacon. Went from black to brazzers. It's too scripted. It's too scripted.
At least we now know what Marcus watches all the time.
Skim.
I can't.
But I skim all the time.
Sorry. That you notice on your Twitter timeline as you're spouting Bible verses at us heathens.
Exactly.
See, I know what's up. I feel like Impact's in this place right now where there's so much potential.
Yeah.
But they're still getting in their own way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really happy with this forced because and they do this so often under Demore. They go all in on one champion as the face of that division for as long as they have them. They had Morrison as the face of the division, and then he left, and then Cage, and then he left. And they're going with Moose, and Moose is probably going to stay for a little bit longer than anyone else. So that's a good change of pace. But then you also have Pirazzo, and I feel like when her 2 years is up, she'll leave. You know, the Good Brothers are probably going to leave eventually, or at least they should. And before them, it was basically like LAX for like 3 years. And this is just like this random ass way for them to keep doing it. Like they don't seem to have the ability to build up and do non-tag title or non-knockout title feuds to bolster the rest of the company, for shows. I don't have an issue with like having a title match on every show and what have you, like on every major show. Like that's fine. But I feel like if it's not getting attention for the tag titles for the knockouts or the title for the knockouts, there's no feud. Like there's nothing going on. Like I don't watch a lot of the digital content like between the bell or before the bell, or whatever it's called, and like I don't see some of that stuff that's exclusive to the internet. It's like I don't know if Jordan Grace is feuding with anyone. It doesn't seem like she is. It's like that's a waste of a talent and a title. Like I feel like they need to really figure out the best way to book their shit because like they're letting a lot of guys and girls kind of just sway in these pointless feuds and these nothing matches instead of building up to the next event because like who right now if Morrissey, Moose, and Cardona got hurt, who you put in the main event? Josh Alexander? You haven't done him a lot of justice. Jonah seems to be sticking around, so that's a good thing. But like outside of those two, like there's really no one. And like let's be honest, Moose is kind of getting the Big E booking at the moment. Like he's prominent, but I don't see Moose doing anything at the moment that I would say is really good. Like as soon as they did the thing with Bound for Glory, I thought they were going to be building up this Alexander Moose feud into this blood rivalry, and that hasn't happened. Instead, we're getting Cardona and his wife, and Morrissey, and it's just like who cares? Like who cares?
Yeah, it's funny because obviously, people was like they took it from what you call it. They took it from Alexander, and then like they gonna put him in this random, and then they lateraled with him. Like, oh, okay, that was a hell of a lateral with Jonah. And then it feels like now Moose is punching down because one is by the way, mid Cardona, maybe one of my
That's a great dig.
God, that's incredible. Mid Cardona, I hope he never lives it down. Another personal, but that's just too good. And Morrissey just feels like somebody that's just there. Like, maybe I'm gonna be champion. No, you're just somebody to stick in there because this company loves, for some reason, right now, multi-man title main events and overbooking multi-man title main events.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like y'all need to, like you said, kind of put some more steam back in Moose, get Alexander back in his face. If it's Jones gonna be sticking around, do something with that. Um, make sure our boy Trey keeps up some steam after Macklin. He finally got him out the way. Take the damn titles off the Good Brothers, please. Just take them off them. And obviously you're gonna have to bring in somebody to knock Mickey off because while I appreciate the fact that y'all got somebody that respects the title and whatnot, you could have got the same stuff out of Deanna, keeping it on her. I feel like we talked about on the last show. I'm like, I wonder how much her being randomly put in the damn Rumble that means nothing had to do with her retaining that night because of the prep.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. The other thing that I want to point out is like when we look at talents in the company, like Jake Something might be living. And I feel like they haven't done jack shit with Jake Something, so if he left, I wouldn't be surprised. And I look at like who's on the roster that you could build into a star. There's really no one on the women's side outside of Masha Slamovich. And who knows what she's even going to turn into or what she can do. Because she's very new to this echelon. Like, she only really started to get waves last year when she was working with the NWA. And then you have Speedball. Speedball is, in my opinion, the best prospect they've ever had. And I'd go as far to say even more so than AJ Styles. Because Speedball is every bit as athletic as Styles. He's every bit as marketable as Styles. But while he has the same limitations as Styles where he's not a great promo, and I don't want to hear anyone ever say that AJ Styles has ever cut a good promo. You're fucking lying. He got lucky with beat up John Cena. That's it.
You're not wrong on that.
And that's fine because you don't need to be a great promo if you're phenomenal in the ring. If you're not phenomenal in the ring, you got to be phenomenal on the mic. You got to be one or the other. There's nothing else. So like Danhausen is very average in the ring, but he's phenomenal on the mic. Sami Callihan's nothing to write home about in the ring, but he's phenomenal on the mic. So on and so forth. But Speedball is everything AJ Styles was when Styles came into Impact. Now, Speedball's not young. He's 28, 29 in that area. But he's young enough. And the thing that makes Speedball, in my opinion, far more marketable at this stage of his career than Styles was at his stage when he came into Impact is that Speedball's a legitimate fighter. Like, he has legitimate training in martial arts. He comes off as very authentic. And you can't teach authenticness. That's why someone like Charlie Haas is always going to be marketable and promotable because he's a legitimate Division I All-American at Seton Hall. Bobby Lashley's closer to AARP. He's closer to AARP age than he is, prime of his youth age. But he's still marketable because he's a legitimate former all Army wrestling something or other. I think it's like all armed forces or something like that. Brock Lesnar, same deal. Like these dudes don't have to worry about their expiration date because they come off as authentic. But then you look at someone like Styles, like, yeah, he wrestled in high school and he did gymnastics. Cool. You kind of look like a goober. You look like a soccer mom with a drawn-on beard. There's nothing about you that's marketable, homie. But Speedball has that marketable edge because he's a legitimate martial artist and he's crazy athletic. I think you're going to like him, Marcus.
No, like I said, I think I've seen him a few times from the Bowler days. And he's something else. I haven't seen him. I gotta check him out because I didn't catch the pre-show for the Hard to Kill. But I'm definitely gonna get caught up on Impact. So looking for, like I said, that's somebody you can run into Trey.
Eventually, yeah. He
I
wrestled somebody on this past week's Impact, but I forgot who it was.
had them chop it up. But you definitely need to continue to bring in new prospects. Take some ideas, like we were saying. There's nothing personal against the people we kind of want move to the side, but they're just not doing anything.
Mm-mm.
Like, not even the narrative around them is working. Like, I get caught on him, but to me, the most entertaining thing about him right now is people calling him Mid Cardona because that's hilarious to me. And Morrissey's not really doing nothing. And y'all got a weird thing about having these big dudes that you don't really do nothing to make them seem monsters. We talked about that with Fulton.
Mm-hmm.
You have somebody like what's his name with I'm finna say Sanity, but Violent by Design and
Joe Doring.
Joe Doring.
And that's the one that really bothers me. Joe Doring's a hell of a wrestler. He's a former All Japan Triple Crown champion. He was one of All Japan's best stars over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And you get him, you landed him, good get. And he's just a silent mouthpiece behind Eric Young. Now, granted, Doring is 40. He's not 30 like he was at the height of his All Japan run. But he wrestled like Stan Hansen. Stan Hansen was a great worker until his 50s. That's not an excuse, guys. Stop fucking around.
And that's, there's a ironic trend in the fact that y'all turned all these dudes who could potentially have or potentially could now go on their own things and have these monstrous tales of a run. And y'all just turned them all in the heavies. You did the same thing with Shira, who came back aggressive, with a whole kind of swag to his character. And he, as much as I like Rohit, he's just muscle for Rohit. Like, what was that show where they just randomly threw him and Madman Fulton out there, just let them slap meat for a couple minutes to kill time on the show, and then that was that.
Rohit's gone, by the way.
Oh yeah. Then there's that. So
he popped up in AEW, if that's any consolation.
It's not.
To be fair, that one doesn't bother me because I feel like he hit his peak. He's 40, 41. He's not young. So I'm fine with them letting Rohit go. But if they lose Jake something.
Yeah, that might be the last hope for the big guys because they actually let him. He's had some really great matches too.
Mm-hmm.
Like he had a slammer last year with Alexander, matter of fact, that we
Mm-hmm.
talked about. So they really need to do something. It would be great if they could run him back in the Diener and have him. That I feel like that's a thing they could keep running back if they do it right, like they do with Callahan and Edwards now. Um, but yeah, you got to get Jake something. Obviously, you would hate for them to even try and waste Jonah because I feel like unless they do something to definitively lock him down, he go kind of play fast and loose with him, kind of like Ibushi did with WWE.
Yeah, I don't know. I see Ibushi used the WWE, and we all knew he was going to use the WWE. But I don't feel that way with Jonah because Jonah really wants to be a part of New Japan. He's
Yeah,
working with New Japan Strong, which is the American arm of the company. But I feel like he's working with Impact as a way to show New Japan that when the pandemic allows me to travel, that I am a team player, that I'm a company guy, and I'll do the work. So I don't see him burning Impact, and I'm glad that he's sticking around because I think he's legitimately one of the best big men possible, and I'm glad that he's actually gone from the WWE because he has a more authentic edge to him than when he
yeah,
was in the WWE. I really like Jonah. I like him a lot. I like him a lot more than I thought I would.
yeah. Same. That's it's something that forgot exactly how D'Lo said it, but it was like he's built at 360. Uh, hits like he built like 360, moves like he's 220, and he hits like he's 400 or something like that. So it was that's I mean that's basically sums him up. And I know people like, oh y'all like Chad likes uh he likes Jonah. He talks shit about Joe and he talks shit about Steen and they're fat. It's like that's not the same thing.
Yeah, no, like Jonah is he's not in shape. He could stand to lose some weight. Let's be real. Whenever you're pushing 350, that's not healthy. But the difference between Jonah, Samoa Joe, and Steen is very simple. Uh, Jonah's knees aren't shot to shit. It's not a complicated argument. Why don't you think Joe and Owens are as good as they used to be? Could they overweight and their knees are now taking a fucking pounding? Like look at Owens. Like that dude hobbles. Have you ever seen him run before without limping? That's because his knees and hip is fucked up. Why do you think his knees and hips are fucked up? Because he doesn't take care of himself. Like I know everyone wants to be body positive, and I don't want anyone to ever feel ashamed of how they look. That's not what I'm talking about. We're talking about athletics. We're talking about science. We're talking about medical science. The human frame can only carry so much weight. Not just bones and muscles, but also your cardiovascular system. When you're so heavy and so big, you develop hip problems, you develop knee problems. This isn't some slanderous accusation against people who are bigger. It's a statement on fact. If you fall off of a 50-foot ladder, you're gonna hurt yourself. That's not to slander people who enjoy falling off ladders. Jonah's gonna deal with knee issues real soon. It's not that far away. You cannot be in a competitive athletic background like he is in pro wrestling and not see a dramatic drop off. So I wouldn't be surprised if in 10 years Jonah either has lost a lot of weight, has had massive knee surgeries, or is retired altogether because guys his size just cannot keep it up. Because he's not a tall dude. Like he's 5'10" maybe? Like you look at someone like Bad Luck Fale, he's 6'5", but he looks a bit overweight, sure, but he's not thick. Not like Jonah. And like someone else like Big E, like he does seem to be a little bit bigger than his frame, but not exponentially so. So like there are definitely variants in being bigger than the norm and still being in a good safe space. Jonah's not there, but Jonah's healthy in terms of his joints. You can tell by the way he moves. It's not that complicated. It's one of the reasons why Vader in 1999 and 2000, despite being not even 40, was considered washed. His body was just done. He wrestled too often. His knees and ankles and hips and back went out, and he gained a lot of weight and deteriorated in 5 years. It happens all the time. That's it. I'll still watch Vader matches after 2000 because I don't give a shit if his knees and hips are broken. I'll still pretend he's 30-year-old Vader beating up Sting. Although I shouldn't
Yeah,
say that because that makes me sad because beating up Sting, no, no. I'll pretend he's 30-year-old Vader beating up Flair. There it is. That makes me happy.
yeah, there it is. Yes,
That makes me happy.
an earned ass whooping. But yeah, it's always interesting looking, thinking about, seeing those shorter guys with those like bulky frames, because it's different forms of it. Like you said, there's guys like Biggie, then you got your guys like Gresham.
And see, like Grisham has the perfect frame for his body because I feel like he's. I'm gonna go Pokemon here. Gresham is his final form. He's not overly muscular where he's losing speed. He's not carrying any extra weight that you would think would be a hindrance. He's in phenomenal shape. He's in him and his wife, I don't know if they're married. Him and Jordan Grace, because they're in a relationship, whatever, wherever they are in the relationship, are like the perfect examples of how to be a quote unquote bigger person while also being healthy. Like they're in phenomenal shape because they keep themselves in phenomenal shape. And that's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I think they all married. I was thinking about like hashtag buff sex. Um, but yeah, how did you feel about? I know this is the name that shall never be spoken. But how did you feel about like Benoit at his peak bulk?
Super chemically enhanced.
Yeah,
Obviously, like he was not he wasn't like some thunderous Scott Steiner looking some bitch.
yeah,
Like Scott Steiner was grossly enlarged,
yeah,
but like Benoit was like if you spent every day in the gym, only ate greens and lean chicken, and spent every day in the gym for 3 hours a day, you could probably look like Benoit naturally. But you would have to live a lifestyle that is just devoid of anything worth having.
yeah. Because it was to the point where I'm like, is it just me or does his arms look shorter? Like,
He never had long arms, but the thing that really kind of made me laugh is his body kind of stopped having not definition, but it stopped having like textile definition. So like I could just imagine like someone poking him in the abdomen and like his skin doesn't move at all. It's just like plastic. Yeah, so like I think a great example of like what you can do with your body with dedication is Alexander Hammerstone. I know I talk about him a lot, but he used to be a 195 pro wrestler. Like him and Brian Cage kind of came up the same way. They were both lightweights and both got into bodybuilding. And because so many people don't understand how dedicated bodybuilders are to the craft, they're like, oh, they're on steroids now. No, they just put in a lot of fucking effort. And I mean a lot. I mean a gross amount. Like if you tell me Brian Cage and Alexander Hammerstone spend less than 4 hours a day at the gym every day of the year, I'm gonna call you a liar, or I'm gonna start thinking they're doing steroids. Because like that's a lot to have to maintain. And they're both bodybuilders. Like Alexander Hammerstone competes in bodybuilding. So it's something you can do naturally, although a lot of bodybuilders at one time have done steroids. But like, if you ever see like Alexander Hammerstone doing like a pose down, like he looks like okay. If I put my ass into it, I could look like that. There are some bodybuilders that just look gross, where they have muscles on muscles on muscles on muscles, and like they flex and their heads disappear. You ever see guys like that, where they look like a Dragon Ball Z villain?
yeah, it's weird. It's like I don't even think it's necessary. I don't even think it's necessary to have muscles there. Like it's
I
kind of
didn't think
awkward.
muscles could be there.
It's well, you know what's funny, and this is just how much of a freak he is. Brock looks more regular as a human now,
Mm-hmm.
because when it's like his shoulder, it's like he was in mid mutation when he first debuted.
Yeah, well, yeah. When he first debuted, he was doing a lot of amateur wrestling still, and amateur wrestling training. So like that's why he had the physique he did. Things got twisted for Lesnar when he came back to MMA, and he was like bigger and more defined because that's when he was doing
Yeah.
steroids again. But I think there was a good time in Lesnar's career where he wasn't doing steroids because his frame was still huge. He still had fucking hulking muscles, but he wasn't as tight, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like when you see someone who's big, muscular, and bulky, but not as tight, that's probably when they're clean. But it's when they're really fucking tight especially when they're hitting like 38, 39, 40, and they're tight and they're huge. That's when you know they're doing steroids. So,
Yeah, hashtag don't hinder gender. That switch up.
hmm
I don't know what you did, but that's it. You traded off your back's anonymity.
from what I gathered, Jinder got into bodybuilding during his time away from the WWE. So that could explain a lot of things, although he's very veiny and to be fair, like just because you have acne doesn't mean you're doing steroids.
Yeah.
He might just be a sweaty, oily dude.
Hmm.
But because it wasn't so obvious and pronounced before he turned into the Indian Hulk, you know, it's within the realm of possibility to debate, to assume. Let's talk about debates though, because anyone who watches the NWA should not be debating that their commentary team sucks. I forget who the announcer is, the play-by-play. I think it's like Ganelli or something like that. He's fine. I don't have any issue with the play-by-play guy. I think he's actually quite good. The issue comes down to Austin Idol and Velvet Sky. They're terrible. And what made it even worse is they've launched a second show. It's called NWA USA. It's where they're going to be promoting and highlighting more of their younger, lesser established stars. And I like that idea, so I'm going to tune in and watch. And I watched both episodes this week. I watched the second episode of USA and whatever episode of NWA Power that they're on. But I watched it mostly on mute. And the one thing that Velvet does just terribly is she talks over everyone, and she never lays out for anyone to get a word in edgewise. And Austin spends more of his time arguing with everyone than he does doing anything else. The best kind of point-to-point comparison I can draw so everyone can understand unilaterally what I'm talking about. This is 2011 Raw where Michael Cole was the heel play-by-play announcer. He was insufferable. He killed the product. He killed the interest. It was rough. And that's how Idol and Velvet Sky are on commentary.
I'm trying to remember. Was this because I remember when he was beefing with Lawler,
Mm-hmm.
and then there was that insufferable. Was this also the year with a damn anonymous GM?
Yes.
Oh dear God.
And I quote,
I have your attention, please. Yeah, just wow. Okay.
yeah, it's not good. Here's where it gets really bad, though. During the NWA USA airing, they were showing a match between, I think it was Arya Davari, and I forget who the other guy was. And Austin Idol kind of went on and talked about the lineage of the light heavyweight title, what it would mean to Arya and whoever to win it. He was talking about, you know, the intensity needed to win it and how prestigious it is. And for like 5 minutes, the commentary was glorious. And then it went back to them yelling at each other. And I'm just like, why? No. So, like, they're capable of it. They actively choose not to do it.
Yeah, it's gonna get to a point where eventually everything we watch, I feel like it's damn near either probably being streamed, and just like the skip intro, they should give you the skip commentary option.
I'd be fine with that mute commentary. Just hear the impacts of the ring and the talking and the promos and everything else gets muted. I'd
I
be
mean,
fine with
because for
that.
the most part, I would imagine if a lot of American fans don't watch, because the great thing about New Japan, you don't necessarily need the commentary because the wrestling is that good.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, if you know the characters, you can watch the whole show and kind of just do it yourself. Specifically a Suzuki match, but
Murder Grandpa.
it's probably more fun to commentate the Suzuki match yourself. Um, but yeah, that takes away everything because when it's bad, it's all you hear.
Mm-hmm.
It's all you hear because you can't get it. It's like this is stupid. They're literally going into business for themselves, and they're making no money.
Nope. And I will say this. I'll say this about Tom Hamburger. He's not bad at his job. He's a sex pest, and he's annoying, and Matt Stryker should never have been let go because Matt Stryker's God, but whatever. But Hamburger Man, he ain't bad. Like, he's fine. So, like, if you can at least be non-irritating, I think you can be exceptional. Because like with Ian Riccaboni, the biggest issue I had with him was he always tried to make a moment into a pop culture reference. And I'll give you a great one-to-one comparison. When Kevin Kelly did Ring of Honor and Eddie Edwards was in Ring of Honor, Eddie would do a spot where he would run across the ring and then run across back and then dive through the ropes. And as Eddie was running, Kevin Kelly would go, soaring! And then Eddie would jump, and scoring! And it was completely original to Eddie. So, like, when he made that call, it was a call about Eddie. But, like, when Ian Riccaboni does it, it's like, oh, banging on the trash cans. It's like, all right, cool. You watched Doug as a kid. Fucking shut up about it. Or, like, it would be like, that's 4 non-blondes. Why are we referencing 4 non-blondes? They had one song. What are you doing? And, like, they're not even funny. Because, like, remember when I sent you that text or that tweet of Tupac where it said if Russell Westbrook was the shooter?
Yo, I had no idea because I've been lackadaisical on these NBA games. I didn't know he was missing like that, man.
Oh yeah, he is. But like if Riccaboni was doing commentary like that, that would be fine because he's making a pop culture reference into an insult or a dig about something. Like, oh, you know, he shoots as well as Russell Westbrook. Like that'd be fine, but instead it's more just him making random ass like these are things I like kind of references, and it's like,
Yo,
oh, fucking shut up.
how has nobody made the what it is Lassie? Nobody's referenced Lassie yet. I mean, not Lassie, Old Yeller. If Russell Westbrook was to shoot,
See
yo,
that's oh okay
and
okay.
dudes airball and layups. I'm like, yo,
Russell Westbrook is the
isn't
region the movie Cujo happened because when Cujo was Old Yella, Russ tried to shoot it and missed, and then the rabies took hold and turned him into Cujo.
God, I wish we were more technologically advanced and savvy. Because this would be the perfect time to do that scene out of Vampire in Brooklyn. This is my brain. This is my heart. This is my heart.
Wasn't that with Eddie Murphy?
Yes.
I have not
Yes.
seen that one in forever.
And John Witherspoon and freaking Dwayne Wayne from a different
Oh
world.
no.
And Angela Bassett and yeah.
So, we'll get back to wrestling here in a second. I'm done with the NWA. We'll move on here in a second. But I work a lot of late nights, so I'll keep the TV on just for like some white noise. And the only channel, because like I don't have traditional cable or satellite in my office. I have a digital TV and an antenna, so I get like, you know, Rewind TV and like Laugh and Comet and all those channels. But I've been leaving Rewind TV on after 2 a.m. because that's the only one that's still airing programming besides Heroes and Icons. And I'm sorry, I love Coach, but I don't need to see whatever his name is in that show, The District or whatever it's called. Like, nah, I'm good.
Oh yeah, Coach is classic, yeah.
It's classic.
But yeah.
So now, like at 3 a.m., it's like it's Wings, and then it's Head of the Class with Robin Givens, fucking babyface Robin Givens, and I'm just like, oof, oof.
Robin Givens is a heater, man.
Oh
She's
my
another
goodness.
Robin Givens and that, and Robin Givens and Boomerang. I'm like, you give me the choice between her and Carmen Diaz from The Mask, and I'm gonna have a conniption.
Both, both is good.
A conniption, yeah, exactly.
It's just it's literally that fucking scene from what's that? Road to El Dorado. Both is good.
Like, fuck it, I'm double dipping.
There's also let's see if I can find her name. Where is she? What is it? Kimberly Russell, I think, is in this show as well. Is that who I'm thinking of? Yes. Oh, Kimberly Russell in 1987. Hoy.
Lee Russell.
Let's see. Google her and head of the class. Like that smile. Oif. Oy, I'm a fan.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Damn, how they didn't throw her in a different world. Okay, I get it. I get
Right.
it. I,
So I've been seeing a lot of that, and then like in like seven, they start playing reruns. I shouldn't say reruns because they're all reruns of what was it, 227? I think you ever see that show?
yeah, man. 227.
But who was in that? John Olmos, I think.
John Amos. Let's see. 227. John Amos, Jackie Harry, Regina King.
Yeah, that was another one. Babyface Regina King. Oh man, seeing her as a
And
little
she's
as a
on,
little itty bitty, I was like, oh, and she had like a bowl cut. I'm like, what?
and she's only getting finer as she ages.
She's still pretty.
Yeah.
All right, John Amos wasn't in 227. He was in
No, Jack.
something. But anyway,
Jack.
so I lead all this into saying something. I think John Amos was in like a guest spot in something.
Yeah.
So he was in a guest spot on one of the shows on Rewind TV, and I ended up having a dream last night of John Amos. Basically, I come home and there's a house party that John Amos is throwing. I'm like, John, get the fuck out of my house. He's like, all right.
That is hilarious.
And I woke up. I'm like, why the fuck was John Amos in my dream?
Just seeing somebody punk John Amos.
But he was so cool about it, and I woke up feeling kind of bad. I woke up. I'm like, well, I didn't need to say get the fuck out. He was so kosher about it too. I was like, okay, damn,
Hey John, John? What are you doing? Just no, no.
John, leave the dip, head out. So, also as we're talking about black icons of the 70s and 80s, I saw that Mufasa was trending yesterday, James Earl Jones, and like I nearly died. I know he's 91 now, but like I'm not ready for him to go. Turns
No
out he
man.
just had a birthday, so I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah, I'm glad too, cause I'm like, man, James. Every time I see him, I'm like, we gotta give him his flowers, man, cause I've seen him in. I don't know if you caught the new Coming to America.
Not yet. I've heard some mixed reviews on that.
Yeah, but I'm like, oh man, he's like he did one of them roles where it's like, as long as I'm always comfortable in every scene, I'll do it. Yeah, it's, yeah, you ain't telling no more stories about how plates disappeared. No, you ain't doing. Uh,
So, all right. I know everyone loves him in Star Wars, whatever. My favorite role of him was in Field of Dreams. Greatest speech in baseball history belongs to him. Twice. Why didn't you knock on the door? I'd have gotten it for you. Fucking saying that. But my favorite performance of him was on The Big Bang Theory when Sheldon meets him. And because this is how I want to imagine him every day. Like, this is who he is in my head. When Sheldon meets him, he's eating alone at a restaurant. He goes, Mr. James Earl Jones, like, you're Darth Vader. And Sheldon sits down, and James Earl Jones leans forward and he goes, are you one of those Star Wars fans? And Sheldon goes, yes. And James Earl Jones just goes, me too. And then later on in the episode, they put a bag of flaming dog poop on Carrie Fisher's door or something like that. And Carrie Fisher opens the door and goes, James, it's not funny anymore. And you just hear him go, ha ha, yes it is.
it's just funny because talking about James Earl Jones and the roles, and I'm like, I love him in Coming to America. And like, he kind of reminds me of, like, ironically enough, we were talking about Uncle Phil. He has an Uncle Phil quality to him.
That very much he
Uh,
just wants to raise the next generation up to be better than him kind of philosophy.
you could definitely see that like a close scene when like when Uncle Phil like went to go get his money back from the pool sharks, or when he had to talk to the dude about getting Will and Carlton out of jail, and then you kind of
Yeah.
side by side that with take Simmer back to the room, make sure it's bathed thoroughly.
And then the servants come in. I'm very dirty.
Greatest punishment ever. Oh man.
It's fantastic. It's very good. All right, let's see. What else is on the docket? We got one more, I think. Couple more. Mustafa Ali wants his release. He has not been given it yet. Marcus, I feel like Mustafa Ali is going to be a name that a lot of people want to see go everywhere, but I really don't see a high ceiling for this cat. I don't think he's that charismatic. He's never really had a gimmick that made me go, oh, he needs to be a star.
Yeah,
Am I missing something on Mustafa Ali, or is he really going to be a big free agent if he does hit the scene?
I don't know. You never. You know what's funny, man? And this is his names. It's guys like him. In this limbo that he's in right now, trying to get away from WWE. This is the reason why I wish like the OG Lucha Underground was still around,
Mm-hmm.
because it's places like that where guys who are obviously extremely talented, like he go there and do something like what Ricochet did, but maybe in
Mm-hmm.
an expanded role with something very creative, because there's some irony in the fact that he recently kind of pitched himself at Marvel. Because I'm like, obviously, it's millions of talents in wrestling that do a lot of stuff that he does, and obviously, he is a person of color, and his particular fan base and whatnot very much relate to him and stuff of that nature. He's always been a good and positive guy, so he showed on social media. But maybe he is another one of those names that would maybe thrive better in like the entertainment field um, than wrestling. I think maybe that company has a way of kind of sucking the life out of you when it comes to your love of wrestling anyway.
Hmm.
So I think if he goes somewhere that has like a Edge type of Haven run or something like that, we could kind of see his palette expanded. But I mean, what he does in the ring is what he does in the ring. But I think you talked about it before. He's somebody that you obviously saw as talented, but never really wowed you, because it's like him, the guys like Cedric, Kalisto, one of Chad's favorite cruiserweights, Malik, and stuff like that. They can do a lot of the same things, but it's like I think he just kind of sees more for himself. And when you pitch yourself to a company like Marvel, it's like, okay, maybe he does see like a Cody Rhodes. Maybe it's like, look, man, I can kind of go and do anything else. And when you look at the landscape of wrestlers and what they could and couldn't do, and you see The Rock is taking over Hollywood, um, and freaking John Cena is riding the cloud right now. A lot of guys probably like, look, man, I kind of need to expand while there's some good narrative juice out here. Batista's still doing his thing, and so get in while the getting's good.
But see, that I feel like that's the issue when we're talking about Mustafa is Batista, Cena, Rock
Yeah,
all have charisma. They all had something about them that made them marketable. They all had something about them that made them real, in a sense. Now, of the three, Batista and Rock were definitely my favorites, and Cena exists. So when I look at Mustafa, though, it's like I feel like every time he's out there, I know he's playing a role, and
mm,
that kind of takes him out of it for me. I make this reference a lot, but it's a fair one. You look at Danhausen. Like the dude is a 1950s B movie villain brought to life. He's original, unique. He's developed a speech pattern that's all his own. He's developed, putting Hausen at the end of everything, and the way he like holds his hands when he's talking is kind of like very creepy, but it's also very silly. Like he made himself into a gimmick that worked and sold, and he's the number one selling merch guy on Pro Wrestling Tees right now. Who is Mustafa Ali? I know he's trying to be so many things. He's a former police officer, and I love that. You know me on Leo's. He's I think what is he? He's not Indian. He's what Pakistani, I think.
yeah,
I think he might be like Canadian Pakistani. Mustafa Ali. Let's see. I don't want to be. He's Pakistani American,
yeah,
but he's also 35. And we've seen the best version of him possible as a wrestler. He doesn't have a unique look. He doesn't have a unique gimmick. He's not so. He's good. He's a good worker. But there are thousands of good workers. What makes you special? I don't know. Now, like you said, this might be a WWE issue. Because while I'm not a Steve Macklin guy, a lot of people have turned and become a fan of the guy. I see
Yeah.
Powerbomb Jitsu, an all-black group of pro wrestling fans. At least some of them on that group of all-black wrestling fans seem to love Steve Macklin.
Yeah.
So it tells me that Macklin is getting over. But there are guys like Mustafa that I don't see anything, and like there are times when guys hit the indie scene like Matt Cardona, where I'm like, I still don't get why you guys think he's a draw. So I don't know if I see him being able to be a headliner elsewhere. I don't know if I think he's going to be a guy that has endless potential. You know, he's going to be 36 this year, and he's still looking for his identity. And I feel like that's not a strong sign that he can transition into a lead role.
Yeah, the irony here is maybe that's exactly what sparked this thing for a release. It's like I'm 36 years old, 36 years old, been in this company for how long, and I'm still trying to find myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like I said, maybe you're looking at maybe he could do that in another form of entertainment. Because if you're looking at the wrestling landscape, it's like, okay, I go somewhere and then I get my name changed and I have to do all this when I can kind of just do a lateral and see what I could do there. You never know, but it is on a foundational point alone, the fact that they've basically put kind of people ass out during multiple waves of a pandemic, for no other reason than budget cuts as a just a kind of PR tap on the back, if you will, and he has to ask for his release. He has to ask for his release. You would think, and this is no shot at him, you would think he would have got lumped in like 3 releases back or something.
As mean as it going to sound, I would have.
You know, so
And
that's
he's just there's something about his current look. Maybe if he cut his hair. Now I know he's Muslim, and I know in some Muslim countries it's not acceptable to cut your hair after a certain point. Like I know hair is very important in some regions in the Middle East. So I don't want to be that guy. But like the long hair isn't making him look good. The beard isn't making him stand out. Like he kind of just looks like a dude that lives down the street from me. And I think that's like the greatest insult you can give a pro wrestler. You look just like my neighbor. Because I'm not buying you, my neighbor, if you're in the main event. Why would I? Why would I? Why would I buy myself, right? Like, and that's kind of how it feels. Like Danhausen, Hammerstone, Sting, Jonah, these are larger than life dudes for one reason or another. How do you, as Mustafa Ali, raise your profile to be larger than life? I don't know how you do it, but you haven't done it yet. So I think that needs to be addressed. And if he wants to be a free agent and ply his craft elsewhere, like he needs to be like focused on how does he make his image come through the TV.
absolutely. And we didn't name the show this, but I'm gonna say it. Akuna Mufasa, Mustafa. I mean,
Akuna Mufasa. It means no worries for the rest of your days. It's a problem free. So, all right, what song is better, Akuna Matata or Bare Necessities?
it's been so long since I've seen that version of the Jungle Book. They have a dance? Cause I love the head thing from Akuna Matata.
I think the Jungle Book, Bare Necessities, they were floating down the river while Baloo was singing.
Yeah, because I knew Baloo stood on both stood on the legs and kind of did a little hop and a skip.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun,
Got
dun.
the
Yeah.
bare necessities. That's why I always rest at ease. Don't worry about your something and your smile. Yeah, man. That's the only part I remember. But then you had I Want to Be Like You with Louis the Orangutan. And that was like a big old 1950s jazz swing dance number. And it was great. I want to be like you. I want to talk like you. Walk like you. Don't fuck with orangutan.
Yeah,
They'll eat your
it's
face.
hilarious. Yeah.
That scene could have gone a lot different if it was accurate.
That'll be that's actually a perfect setup for that song for him. Like Akuna, Mustafa. It means you can't wrestle with nobody else for 90 days. Oh.
It's your problem free. No, it's our problem free philosophy. Your ass is sent home.
Oh man.
All right, speaking of sending people home, Lita, last story. Lita is teasing one more run. She's apparently going to be in the Royal Rumble. At least that's the plan. And they're definitely hinting at a potential feud with Charlotte Flair. I have some concerns. Just like with Edge, Lita had a neck fusion surgery that basically ruined her career. Unlike Edge, he was able to come back, or unlike Lita, Edge was able to come back. Now, this is important, and I really want people to know this. Edge is not a good worker anymore. You can like him. I'm fine with that. Like that's fair. You like him. He can be entertaining. He's a middle of the road indie wrestler on a circuit kind of talent right now. He doesn't do anything special. He's not overly strong. He's not a great submission guy. All of his submission holds look really bad. But that was never his shtick. His shtick was that he was 6'3", 240 pounds, and he flew around the ring like a bat out of the hell. He did a lot of spinning heel kicks, a lot of stuff with his neck. You know, he did the electric chair drop. He was a madman in the ring. And that's how he gained his notoriety and popularity. But then he broke his neck. And when he came back, he was no longer that worker anymore. He had changed his style completely. By the time the Rated R Superstar came around, none of that was in his repertoire anymore. Lita, who was never as good as Edge was in the ring, broke her neck. And when she came back, she was so bad that she barely wrestled anymore. I think she won her women's title and never defended it until she lost it. And if she did, it was like once or twice.
Yeah, because she broke. We was talking about this at the top of the show, ironically talking about like phase of her career. That broken neck was after the whole character where she was kind of just all chest.
The broken neck came in '04. After the bulk of her early run with Lita. Not Lita, with Trish.
Gotcha. So yeah, that was, and then she got linked up with Edge because Edge's rise came in like '05, '06.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the rated R, and then that's when she was kind of, yeah, she was
When she
done
was
last
Chesterella.
Cheftorella, and that's kind of when, yeah, that was a whole different. I don't even remember how her run finished because all I remember of her
Crime Time
last
stole her
was that.
stuff. No, I'm serious. Crime Time
So,
stole her stuff.
oh crap.
Yeah.
Yo,
Yeah.
yo. What's really hood? What's really good? Um, R.I.P. Shad. But wow. Yeah, that's yeah, it's gonna be interesting because I don't because she still does that what she does the swanton or the moonsault
She did the moonsault.
and yeah, and she it reminds me of like when Jeff used to like rotate in the last 2 seconds on the swanton.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, come on, man. Like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Just do the twist of fate. Do another type move and like send it home. But it's like I look at that Rumble because was she coming back for the Rumble?
That seems to be the goal.
Yeah. Um, I don't know, man. It's just it's a lot of natural to me padding in that because I think they might be bringing Tori back and some other ones, and it's like moves are gonna be dead, but I don't know how much impact and oomph is gonna come with that. I just, I know I hate seeing, like I said, if I watch Shibata, I want no head stuff. I watch Brian, I want no German suplexes.
Mm-hmm.
And I watch Sting, I just want him to have all the offense.
No defense necessary.
Oh, Sting getting slammed through nothing. And if he does take a bump, I need him back right up. Need him right back up.
So, Lita, and I again, this isn't really a debate. If you want to like her still, like her.
Yeah.
By all means. I still like Sting, but I'm also going to admit that Sting, he ain't what he used to be. He's 60 though, so like, fair. But Sting had a severe neck injury, so now Sting does very little. Lita is going to be put into a feud more than likely with Charlotte Flair. I wouldn't be surprised if Lita won the Women's Royal Rumble. The question then goes to what is Lita as a worker at 46, turning 47 in 2022? Well, we've seen her wrestle at, what was it, Evolution. She didn't look good there. We've seen her in the Rumble before. She didn't look good there. She hasn't looked good since 2004 when she broke her neck. Or 2005 when she broke her neck. She broke it early in 05. I think like February. So you're asking a woman who was more daredevil than athletic and really didn't have anything else to her name to come in some 17 years later, 16, 17 years later from her athletic prime, with a bad neck, no real athletic ability, and go toe-to-toe with Charlotte Flair for an entire WrestleMania match. Are we high? What are we doing here? If you want to bring Lita back in like a 6-woman tag match, okay, that's fine. But she's not the worker she once was. And asking her to carry a match with Charlotte Flair or have Charlotte Flair carry her match, it's not a good idea. Like, I know a lot of people will be like, well, look at Ricky Steamboat. He came back, same kind of span, like 20-odd years later, bad back, and he had 3 or 4 really good matches before hanging up the boots again. And yeah, that's fair, but also that was risky and once in a lifetime. I don't know if you can expect that again from Lita, considering Lita was never that good to begin with, and she can't do the things that once made her popular. So it's like being told, like, hey, you can hire Barry Bonds to hit for your baseball team. Oh, cool. But he can't hit home runs anymore. Why would I hire him then? Why would I bring him in? If Lita can't do dumb Lita stuff, why are you bringing her in? That's her legacy, doing dumb Lita stuff.
Yeah, no, and for some people, lamely enough, some people like, I just want to see these two legendary women. Yes, I'm calling Charlotte. I gotta do my nerd one. Yes, I'm calling Charlotte a legend. I just want to see these women who have 2 of the best moonsaults in all of wrestling do moonsaults.
Didn't Lita nearly break her neck again in like 2018 trying to do a moonsault?
And I feel like
do we really want to see that again?
And I feel like Charlotte's gonna break someone's neck one day, coming down on them feet first with that damn over-rotated moonsault she does.
Or worse yet, hitting them with her thigh and knees on the rotation. That's how you break your neck.
I feel. Didn't something similar like that happen to Sorensen?
Yeah. If I remember correctly, Zima Ion, did a moonsault and caught him with both knees by accident and broke his neck.
Boom.
So there's something I want to point out real quickly. Impact brought back Charlie Haas. AEW has a slew of late 40-year-olds. So why is this different? Because Lita is not what she was as a wrestler. And you're asking her to come in without her tool bag of sorts and build you a house. When you look at Impact with Charlie Haas, he's still a wrestler. Like, wrestlers can wrestle late into their life. They just won't be, if we're talking about a real wrestling match, a 50-year-old could probably still win against a lot of guys, but they're not going to be winning top-tier tournaments anymore. So there's really no incentive to keep going. But when you look at someone like Jeff Hardy, that dude already looks broken. And I don't mean that as some type of, like, in-universe dig. I mean, like, he doesn't move like he once did. He doesn't have the same splash like he once did. He doesn't have the same type of oomph as he once did. And that's because he's been doing this too long. In 5 years, like, yeah, you can still hire Jeff Hardy to do indie shows, but, like, it's going to be a depressing facsimile of what he once was. Same thing with Sabu. Like, Sabu at 40 was washed because he couldn't do the stuff that made him popular because he never took care of himself. RVD's 50, and you could probably get a good 20-minute match out of him that's still relatively close to what he once was. Not nearly close, but, like, all right. I can see what you were still, so that's something. Lita had a broken neck, and it ruined her athleticism. What athleticism she had. And now you're asking her 17 years later to carry a feud into WrestleMania. It's not the same thing as hiring Christian Cage, who was never athletic, to come and still wrestle like he once did, because Christian has not missed a step. And there's a reason for that. It's because Christian was never athletic. Christian never had a high vert. He was never big. He was never fast.
Yeah.
He never had a step to lose.
Exactly. He also and guys like him and Miz and others, he also very much has a in-ring arsenal that caters to his non-athleticism.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of
So
like why Hulk Hogan at 46 still had matches as good as he was when he was 30. Because Hulk Hogan's entire repertoire was boring. I didn't mean to dig. I didn't mean to dig. But I mean, like, Hogan's stuff you could do as long as you were able to stand upright. A body slam, a big boot, leg drop, and punches. Oh, complicated repertoire. Same thing with John Cena. Like, nothing he does besides that top rope leg drop that he had late into his career. Nothing Cena does is something that you need to worry about. But when you look at Lita, a lot of her stuff was high flying, reckless daredevil nonsense that she hasn't done in a while. And I know people are going to pretend that her return is going to be just as good as it ever was, but also, like, it won't be, because you all know that it won't be as fun. Because she won't have the same type of dynamic nature to herself. She might still do a moonsault, but she might break her neck while she does it, because the last time she did it, she nearly,
and also, yeah, and we all know, like I said at the beginning of the show, that's maybe before we came on. That's their favorite clip to show.
Mm-hmm.
Their favorite clip. That's the favorite Lita highlight is
I think that was when she broke her knee. Like
Yeah,
when
like,
she
I
went
think I
tumbling
broke
out and slammed right into the barricade.
exactly. I think I broke his freaking neck. But yeah, and we talk about this. I mean, probably enough people don't talk about it. We've mentioned it several times. Even if you haven't done it for a while and you get some in ring training, that being in ring ready or being in ring shape, that takes longer than some few months
Mm-hmm.
to get to the point where that stuff that, like you said, that stuff was more daredevil than like this crazy athleticism. Like athleticism, is what you see Ricochet do. The daredevil crazy stuff, stuff like the Sabus and then the other stuff that you see. But that in ring shape is a different thing because you at her age and I had done it for a while, you second guess that kind of stuff. You get up to that top rope and it looks like you're standing on a skyscraper instead of just on the top rope. So it's a little bit different. Like you look at somebody like Trish Stratus, it's a little bit different because she probably needs to do less because she stays in phenomenal shape anyway by proxy of her being a yoga teacher.
Mm-hmm. And see,
But
that's a
even
great comparison,
yeah,
because with Trish, she's what I like to call mid-tier athletic, or a mid-tier flyer. She never went off the ropes or jumped, but a lot of what she did in the ring was very nimble. She would do a lot of
yeah,
handstands, a lot of somersaults. She would bounce off the ropes, on a mid-level. But kind of like Randy Savage, like he did the flying elbow and the axe hammer from the top, sure, but like a lot of Macho's athleticism was on the mat, not so much in the air. So Trish, your body can still do that stuff in your late 40s, especially if you're Trish and you're constantly doing yogi. Like she's a yogi, that's what she does. Lita, since leaving wrestling, has done a punk band. She started a podcast, I think. She's got like a clothing brand, I think. I don't see Lita spending, 3 hours a day in the gym doing neck rolls, getting ready to jump off shit. You know what I mean? I don't see her at the skate park with Darby Allin getting ready to do reckless, dumb shit. And that's kind of the big difference. Like, you don't hear a lot about Lita String. Now, I wholly subscribe to the notion that she might be. She might be. She might be ready to start diving through flaming light bulbs again. Like, I don't know. But compared to what we saw in 2018 with the whatever that show was called, and what we saw from her in her last Rumble outing, it's like, I don't know, man. Like that's a
yeah.
risky endeavor.
And this is not us saying we want to see this stuff be crap. I want to see all these women put on good performances, but a lot of them wasn't good when they were supposed to be,
Yep.
and that's
I'm
just
I'm
fact.
I feel like I'm trying to stifle expectations so you're not disappointed.
Yeah,
Like, it's one thing to have like a Trish Stratus or a Gail Kim or a Melina come back because they're always that mid-tier athletic kind of stuff where nothing they did would really age that poorly as long as they were in good shape. Lita could be in the best shape in the world. She could look like Beth Phoenix on Bianca Belair on steroids, right? Like the best of the best with honors, right? Just Men in Black too. Men in Black reference right here. But like even with all that, I would still have the same doubts because when you fuck your neck up that badly, there's little reason to come back to wrestling. And
Yeah.
now Corey Graves wants to come back, and it's like, man, what are you doing, people? Like,
Yeah.
no. I mean, Corey Graves can come back and get kicked by a horse. I wouldn't give a shit. He's really just, he comes off as not a good person. But like with Lita, it's like, why would you even want to come back? Like, sometimes it's just better to just not see if you have something left. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's interesting, and then I get the appeal of it, like that high they always talk about, that when they step through that curtain, and people miss being missed,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff of that nature, and obviously, you want to get out there, and it probably means a lot for those women to get together and probably haven't seen each other for years and whatnot, but it's for it's basically it's a stunt for the company. That Rumble, I looked at it and I'm like, who? Nobody that's currently active as a active member of the current roster winning this would even matter. And you shouldn't be lobbing it to somebody who isn't even on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like you said, at this point, you saw what they did to switch gears to finally give us Lashley Lesnar. So it wouldn't really, to go to your point, it's nothing for them to make Lita winner just to get it with Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
So if for no other reason, then this is one of the few matches we can give you that we haven't spoiled already on Raw.
True. I think, and like the age isn't so much the issue. Like Jazz came back and she wasn't nearly as good as she once was, but Jazz is also 50 and she works as a
Hmm.
correctional officer, so like that's a lot of wear and tear. But she was good enough.
Yeah.
Ivory wrestled into her late 40s, Miss Jackie wrestled into her late 40s, and these women were brawlers. They threw a lot of forearms and clotheslines and shit, and it worked. So,
Yeah.
so this isn't an age thing for Lita. It's an age plus injury plus past experience, and I want her to be okay. I want her to be fine. I want her to have a great match. I just don't think it's gonna happen, and I don't think you should expect it if she does. Like if she actually goes out there and wrestles Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania, I want you to know it'll be a 7-minute match where the highlight of it is her trying to hit a moonsault and hopefully getting enough torque where she doesn't land on her chest or on her face or on her neck.
Yeah. And,
That would make the match glorious.
and as much as I don't necessarily have the highest of marks for Charlotte, definitely respect her as a performer. I'm sure she'll do everything she can to, close whatever gaps is there. But it's sometimes it's only so much you can do, you know.
Speaking of
And I
Becky
would
Lynch,
I just don't want to see what we saw with the diminishing returns that we consistently got with Taker towards the latter part of his career with the women at all.
dude, Taker should have retired after that SummerSlam match with Brock Lesnar. Like that was the last good Taker match, and it wasn't even that good, but it was at least fun.
Or that great narrative closer for the Hell in a Cell.
That would have been fine. That would have been fine. Although nothing will top that O2 Hell in a Cell. Like that's my peak Hell in a Cell match. There's no Hell in a Cell that's ever been as good as that one. Fucking Lesnar did like a goddamn kick while holding one of the trucks of the
Yeah,
underneath of the cage and just kicked him. Like, oh, that's so cool.
them early Lesnar days hit different, man.
Oh my
For real.
god. People who never watched Lesnar in 2002, 2003 have no fucking clue who he is.
One of the sickest chair shots I've ever seen.
Of which time there was a few. He laid Jeff Hardy out with one. Rock, I think, laid him out with one.
No, it was one that Jeff or Matt slapped Lesnar with, and he took that clean to the head.
Oh, I think it was Jeff because like he kind of whipped it at him while still
Yeah.
holding it. Like it wasn't like an over the top. It was like from the side. I think I remember what you're talking about. All right. Anything else on the docket, my friend?
I think you try to transition into one of your favorite Irish women.
No, I was just taking a dig at her
Yeah.
because she doesn't do much. Ah,
I see what you did there.
yeah.
But let's see if there was anything else we had on the docket tonight. Lita, Mustafa, Legacy should have day. Impact High. No, that was pretty much it. We talked about Graves being cleared. Um, we briefly watched over that Walter thing, but at this point, it's a game for how easy they can screw over all their talent at this point. So if Bruce Pritchard is behind anything in NXT, the effery is afoot. So
Yeah, you ain't wrong. All right, so let's do our rundown. RealNerdCorp.com, RealNerdCorp.com. Go check that out. Marcus, you're on Twitter at ParadoxKid, PARADOXKID.
that's the kid.
You can also find him on his other podcast, The True Penny Show, over on Twitter at TruePennyShow. That's The True Penny Show on Twitter at True Penny Show. I'm on Twitter as well at Chad Nerdcorp, ChadNerdCorp, and on Instagram at Chad's Photo at ChadSPHOTOHUT. We'll be back next week. I think we're going to finalize our idea for our review show.
Yeah.
I think we're leaning into the Kane Snitsky feud, but we may have other ideas. I'll let Marcus throw some Hail Marys. I'm not completely against anything. We'll see where things go. But that won't be filmed until the end of the month at the earliest. Because I would actually want to spend a week or so watching clips and episodes and
Yeah.
getting screenshots and whatnot, so we can do a real deep dive. But yeah, so until then, we're done. We'll see you guys next Monday, hopefully, assuming there's no inclement weather to worry about. 10 p.m. Eastern Standard, 9 p.m. Central. Be sure to tune in at twitch.tv/Wrestling Underground for the live show. Or if you missed it, go to youtube.com/The Wrestling Underground, I think. For the, just search Wrestling Underground on YouTube. Don't worry about the URL. And you can watch the show in perpetuity. So for Marcus Rain, I'm Chad Portal. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking us out. Thanks for giving us a chance. Remember, as always, to watch more wrestling. And Marcus, take us home.
Good night, me.